When everything is online and through the internet, there are a number of security issues. There are numerous threats that appear on the internet when we use the internet or are spread through the internet. And these threats include viruses, worms, Trojans or Trojan horses, hackers. Hackers are criminals who break into the computer system, explore the details of information, and they try to destroy, delete, or alter any information which are very crucial and thereby diminishing the value or utility or affecting the information injuriously with the intention to cause a wrongful loss or damage to the public or a particular person. So it could be hackers, it could be denial of service. Denial of service attack is an attack meant to shut down a machine or a network and making it inaccessible for the intended user, making the machine or network inaccessible for the intended user. And it could be sniffers. Sniffing is actually an act of reading unprotected information while it travels over the internet. Sometimes information might not be fully secured while we transmit it through the internet or through some network. So these sniffers they find such information and misuse them. And there could be such similar information theft that takes place. And there can be also internal threats like from the staff or backdoor. So we need software technologies to face all these threats. And a business enterprise can make use of these technologies to build up a trusty infrastructure and take full advantage of the internet. Let us go through some of the security tools or methods that can be used for managing risk in internet marketing. We shall briefly go through each of these security tools and understand how they can be used to protect the computer system from various threats or from various risks. The first and most critical element of internet security system is antivirus software. So organizations have to update or renew their antivirus software to secure their computer systems. Sometimes it is for 1 year and you have to renew it or update the antivirus after 1 year. So it will be for a certain period and after that we have to update or renew the antivirus software. Antivirus software scans computers for signatures of a virus. And a virus signature is the unique part of that virus which helps to identify that virus. If it's a good antivirus software, it will find viruses that have not yet infected the computer system and eliminate the ones that have. But we cannot depend on antivirus software alone because antivirus software will not keep the computer 100% safe. We need various other methods like firewall software and other security tools too. But antivirus software is one of the basic and the first uh, tool that can be used for ensuring that our internet is secure, our usage of internet is secured. And that is why almost all of us update our antivirus softwares or we install antivirus programs. And we have heard of many companies that offer, right, antivirus softwares like there is Norton, Quick Heal, McAfee, and many others. So antivirus software is one of the important security tools. The next security tool is integrity checking software. Integrity checking software should be installed on the server to face many threats. And basically, the idea behind this is that a database of file checksums for critical system files will be created for each of the computers. Now, what is a checksum? A checksum is a small sized block of data derived from another block of data, and the purpose of checksum is to detect errors that may have been introduced during the transmission or storage of data. Or you can say that a checksum is a value that represents the number of bits in a transmission message and is used by IT professionals to detect high-level errors within data transmission. And prior to transmission, every piece of data or file can be assigned a checksum value. So we assign a checksum value to the data or files that we store in a computer system. And while transmission of these data, if there is any alteration by any hackers or such malpractices or malfunctions take place, we will be able to recognize it because there can be changes in the checksums, because checksums are something like a value given to the data, and it helps us to know whether there is any error that has taken place while we transmit the data. So these checksum values are some kind of mathematical algorithms, or these are in the computer language a number of bits which represent the data that we have stored. And the integrity checker is run at regular intervals to ascertain whether data have been changed by a hacker. So if it has been changed, we can see that there's a change in the checksum value. Next is audit logs. Audit logs, along with the firewall logs, are to be examined on a semi-regular basis with the aim to detect any abnormal activity. Web access logs checks to see whether any CGI script attacks have been done. The CGI, or Common Gateway Interface, is a method of processing information on web browser in response to a customer's request. So when a customer or client tries to search for some information, the web browser would process the information with the help of CGI and would deliver the information back to the customer. So CGI script attacks is a kind of attack wherein the attacker would put some kind of input and change the CGI script or the CGI program or the CGI language, we say. They try to put some input and attack or try to do some malpractice on that and alter the information, alter the CGI script. So the logs will be used to identify the source of hacking attempts or denial of service attack. So these logs can be used to identify any hacking attempt or denial of service attack. And as we told earlier, denial of service attack is an attack meant to shut down a machine or network, making it inaccessible to intended users. So that is the use of audit logs to identify any hacking or denial of service attack or such attacks to detect abnormal activity. The next security tool is firewalls. Firewalls can be used to minimize the risk of security breaches and viruses. Firewalls are usually created as software mounted on a separate server at the point the company is connected to the internet. Firewall software can then be configured to accept only links from trusted domains representing other offices in the company or key account customers. So here firewalls are actually like a wall between the computer and the internet. That is at the point where the computer is getting connected to the internet, imagine there is a wall. All right. And this wall will only allow the computer to get access to those trusted domains or those trusted websites. If it is an unsecured website, if it's not a trusted domain, then the firewall will not give the access to that, will not give the computer access to such unsecured sites. Thus, all access to the internet will go through firewalls. This means the internet traffic will be able to be watched closely. Hence, any misuse can be noticed quickly. So, firewall is again an important security tool which checks whether the software checks whether the domain is secure or it's trusted domain or it's a secured website, and only then the firewall software will give access to the computer. This helps to minimize a lot of risk. Backups are very common to us, right? In order to protect the data in the system, we take backups of all critical files on the web server. We have seen that WhatsApp asks us to backup the files. So there can be hardware and software backups, right? You can buy a hard disk and save all the files there. That is a sort of backup also. Or the computer system will ask us to back up so much data, and that could be also a software backup. So backup is to uh, ensure that we do not lose the data, and backup is again an important method to secure data. The next method is encryption. Encryption software using cryptography is used to secure all financial matters or transmission of any sensitive information. Encryption is a process that conceals meaning by changing messages into unintelligible message. So when an outsider looks at the message, he will not be able to read it because the meaning has been changed. It has been changed into an unintelligible message. An outsider will not be able to find its meaning. And this is how we secure many of the data. Now, it is the scrambling of information into a form that cannot be readable. It is the process of transforming information before communicating it to make it unintelligible to all except the intended recipient. Only the intended recipient will get to know what is the meaning of that message. For all the others, it is in the form of an unintelligible information. To encrypt or decrypt information, mathematical formulas called cryptographic algorithms or ciphers and numbers called keys are used. And there are two main methods of encryption. The first is symmetric encryption. And this involves both parties having an identical or shared key that is known only to them. And only this key can be used to encrypt and decrypt message. This secret key has to be passed from one party to the other before use. So in short, there's only a single key is used by the transmitter for encryption and the receiver for the decryption. Symmetric encryption is also known as secret encryption. So there's just one key which has to be used for encryption by the sender or the transmitter, and the same key has to be used by the receiver for the decryption. And this method is not practical for internet marketing. This is because it would not be safe for a buyer to give a secret key to the merchant, because the buyer might lose control of the key or it could not then be used for any other purpose. And at the same time, it would not be easy for the merchant to manage so many customer keys. So that is why symmetric encryption is not much practical in case of internet marketing. And therefore we can use asymmetric encryption or public key. The second method in encryption is asymmetric encryption or public key. So in this case, a pair of keys, namely a public key and a private key, are used. So in symmetric encryption, we saw that there is only a single key, while in asymmetric encryption, there are two keys, the public key and the private key. One key is used to encrypt the message and the other key is used to decrypt the message. And they are mutually related because data encrypted with one key can be decrypted only by using the other key. So a public key is known to everyone while a private key is known only to the owner. And asymmetric encryption is also known as public key encryption. So this kind of encryption, asymmetric encryption, is widely used, especially in internet marketing and for other security tools also such encryption is used. Next is digital signature. Digital signature are used not only to verify the authenticity of the message and claimed identity of the sender, but also to verify message integrity. So digital signature helps to verify whether the message is authentic, helps to identify the claimed sender. Like the sender might use someone's name in some cases. So we need to identify it is exactly the sender that has been meant or that has been claimed there, and to verify the message integrity. The message is encrypted with the sender's private key to generate the signature. That is, the sender digitally signs using his private key. And the message is then sent to the destination along with the signature. The recipient decrypts the signature using the sender's public key. That is, the receiver can verify the digital signature put on the message using the sender's public key. So the sender is signing using his private key and the receiver can verify whether the sign is correct, whether a digital sign put on the message is correct using the sender's public key. And this is how digital signature operates. So if result matches with the copy of the message received, the recipient can ensure that the message has not been modified during transmission because only the originator is in possession of the corresponding encryption key. So here the sender signs using his private key and the receiver can verify the sign using the sender's public key. So here usually we say that the public key is used for encryption while the private key is used for decryption. But in this case, since we learned that public key is known to everyone, we cannot use the public key for signing because someone else can use them in disguise. So that is why here we use a private key to sign and the receiver can verify it using the sender's public key. Alright, and we also have to understand that for every public key there's only one corresponding private key. That is, they are mutually related because data encrypted with one key can be decrypted only by using the other key. Alright, so there's a particular private key for every